Hello, welcome to our live.
Hello everyone, this is live number 21, Q&A with the author of Happy Life Results. This is the Happy Life Results book reading group.
Welcome everyone, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and we're gonna get started right away. Well, if you have questions, first of all, drop them in the comments. If you pop on, just give us a quick wave or a hello in the comments.
Yeah, it doesn't always let us know who's there.
Yeah, last week we missed someone we care very much about. We didn't know she was online, and so if you
say hi.
Just say hi so we can see you and welcome you to the group. A couple of things. One thing is, so one of the members of the group has been testing. She's really good about keeping up with all of the posts and keeping up with the videos and everything.
Yay!
Yay, Monica!
Hi, Monica.
Welcome, Monica. So she was really good about keeping up, as she noticed that the posts weren't always showing up in her feed because Facebook filters and decides what to show you and what not to show you. So Stacy, what were the things she tried and what did she figure out that works the best?
Yeah, so she found out that if she just likes the videos, so she was watching them, right? But if you like or comment, for some reason that tells Facebook you want to see more of these posts, and so it will show you them in your feed. So to consistently see them popping up and reminding you, oh yeah, I need to watch my video today, just like and comment and it will show it to you. So you don't really have to go looking for the video, it'll find you.
So especially if you're just starting out in the group, and we have some new members, welcome to all the new members. If you're just starting out in the group, if you just click like every time, and this is if you want it to show up in the feed regularly. If you have a habit of maybe on a certain day going in and watching the videos or something like that, it might not apply to you. We don't mind the likes, of course. We welcome all likes. But it's mainly so that it will show up in your feed regularly.
Yep.
Right? Anything else on that?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, cool. Let's go to some of the questions that we've had. One of the main questions we're looking forward to answering is, how do you start sharing concepts like this with children? They're at such a young, impressionable age, and this could really make a difference in their life. So how do you start sharing they're kind of advanced concepts? Is there a way to share them with kids?
Yeah, and it's actually funny because they're advanced concepts for us, because what they're doing is they're making something very simple that right now for us is quite complex. So we have to actually break apart the complexity to find the simplicity, but children, they love simplicity, and they haven't had all of the complexity ingrained in them about emotions and about, you know what I mean, things like that. And so it's actually surprising how quickly they catch on and how much they can change kind of their approaches and their instinctive behavior much more easily, than a typical adult, I would think.
And in case you are kind of new to the group and don't know Stacy is the mother of 7 children and the grandmother of 2. And so she's speaking from a kind of a life of experience. And so one of the things that you mentioned that you wanted to talk about had to do with the timing. When do you teach this kind of stuff to your kids?
Yes, so it might be tempting to teach them when they've just gotten upset, because you want them to see, oh my gosh, they just got upset and they're blaming this environmental reason for being upset. And you just feel like, okay, this is the perfect moment to call it to their attention and say, oh, you're upset. Well, let's not blame it on your external circumstances. You would use different words for children. Let's not blame it on the sucker that fell into the gutter, but let's you might be tempted to do it in the moment the child is upset.
So you're saying not?
No.
Okay, when are they supposed to talk to them?
This is tip number 1, highly, highly important, and that is you talk about these things when the child is already feeling good. Like cheerful, happy, you're having a conversation. It's best when it's spontaneous instead of let's sit down and talk about this serious stuff and you need to listen to me. Just do a project where you're both doing things with your hands side by side, and then you can have a nice, easy conversation. That puzzles work great for that.
You mentioned just a second ago that you wouldn't use the language, like those specific words. One of the things that what kind of words do you use, and what is important about the words you use?
Okay, so you know how we took everyone through the translation stage where I presented my way of saying these ideas and I asked you to translate it into something that make sense to you, make it all into your own words. Well, the child is going to need to do this too. The child is going to need to have it broken down into ideas that they get to put into words and own themselves. So they will even help you come up with stories and analogies if you ask them. Children are so creative.
Nice. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So involve them in the process, encourage them to come up with their own words, their own terms for things.
Yes. And one of the fun ways to do this is bedtime, when the child's all tucked in and they want a story. And you could do story time where you start a story and you kind of get the framework there, some characters and some plot going, and then you ask the child questions to fill in the plot, and you can teach these concepts through story.
Nice. Okay, great. So just recently we had an opportunity. Tell us about some of the words that your kids have used for these concepts, and maybe an example of how they've used it in recent times.
Yeah, so we have a child that uses the phrase happy power to describe up, and it's his own word, his own coin, like that's the way it resonated with him the most, is to call it happy power. And so he talks about it as if you were talking about the weather. His happy power is very real to him. And it's the way he sees the world now. And it's really exciting to hear him talking about his happy power, and when he felt like he had the happy power and when he felt like he didn't, and he wanted to figure out why and things like that. So making it your own, we mentioned that, but then so that's one example of my child coming up with their own phrase. And then also the example is that just yesterday we had a parent-teacher conference with one of his teachers, and his teacher mentioned that he had noticed how positive Justice was and how he could just kind of get things done even when he didn't have as much of that overwhelm that kids tend to have. And there was a student in the class who was struggling with overwhelm, and he had an idea to pair Justice with him, and he even thought, like, Justice is really positive, maybe he'll help this student. And it worked really well. The teacher was able to see Justice really kind of holding hands metaphorically with this child and bringing him up to speed and saying, you know what, this is okay, we can do this together, and kind of cheering him on instead of bossing him around or whatever else some kids would do.
Yeah, so there's an example of, and he's 11 years old, so 11-year-old gets enough of the concepts that actually his teacher can see him using them and uses him as a mentor for other students in the class, because he can see the evidence of his happy power and how it helps him to get the best results and to move forward. Okay, so one other thing. So what are some things a parent should not do? One of the things you said was not pick a time when they're down to point out how they're not keeping the concepts, and you pointed out that you can teach bedtime stories and that kind of thing. Oh, that's nice. Thanks, Monica. She said, "How sweet, way to go, Justice." Yeah. So what is an approach that a parent should avoid using for any of this?
Yeah. So we want to try to avoid using pain point pressure when we teach our children these concepts. So not only avoid teaching them when the child is less than happy, when the child is down or frustrated and emotional, but also think about your approach when you're teaching them, because it could be tempting to want to kind of point out to them kind of in a bossy way that they need to be more responsible for their happiness, and that it's a choice and you shouldn't be upset right now, or things like that. And those examples would be using pain point pressure, and sometimes we refer to that pain point pressure as the bully, to kind of bully them into good behavior. And I just would highly recommend that you not do that. It's like completely counterintuitive. So the concepts, they need to kind of be understood by the child, and then the child needs to take responsibility themselves. And so you kind of pushing that on them is not the way to go.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So I have a question. Say how much of what you've said about teaching this to children applies to adult learners?
All of it.
All of it. Okay.
Yes.
So don't bully yourself about these, and
don't bully your spouse.
And focus on learning when you're not down.
Yes.
So find opportunities when you actually have more positive mental capacity to try to wrap your head around stuff.
Yeah.
What else? Put it into your own words. Figure out story. Coin your own phrases.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't bully yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, if you ever find yourself feeling down, don't be down on yourself for feeling down, because that is a self.
So when you're down,
spiral.
what do you do? How do you? Because if the only time you can really focus on improving is when you're not down, what do you do when you're down? How do you deal with that?
So one of the approaches is just to look at it as neutrally as possible and try to look at the stimulus as neutrally as possible. Is so you don't want to compound it by being unhappy that you're unhappy.
Unhappy that you're unhappy. Unhappyception.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and if you're unhappy, then realize that you've accepted some sort of a belief system, idea, framework. You've accepted the traditional system. You've accepted pretty much someone else's idea that you should be upset, or that being upset is somehow helping you. And I really like to think of it in a positive way, to think I actually am upset because in the past, my belief system says if I'm upset, I'll get better results. I think
so. You actually have a good reason somewhere.
You do 100% of the time. I think
you're being unhappy for a good reason.
Yeah, you're trying to. That's why I did my series on Facebook, 12 Good Reasons to Feel Bad, because people really do have good reasons to feel bad. They're hoping to get something from it. And so to realize, hey, I learned something along the way that made it so that I feel like it's helpful for me to be upset right now.
Okay.
And then give yourself some patience too. Like don't be upset that you're upset.
Okay. I remember when Bethel was a guest on here, she talked a little bit about things that you could do, like tiptoeing, to baby steps to move forward. There are boosts that you've also talked about, the placebos. If you are a friend of Stacy on Facebook, you can look for her Facebook Live series. So you just mentioned the one about 12 good reasons to feel bad.
And the placebo series.
Placebo series, was that 12 also?
Yes.
12 placebos. Different boosts that you can use when you are down to help you get up. And then there's the approach to just taking baby steps, tiptoeing, and that kind of thing forward. Okay, well, so that's all we had for today. Again, if you tune in the same time next Saturday, we'll be doing our next live. Any questions you have? Friday? We're switching to Friday?
Isn't today Friday?
Today is Friday. Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so lost. Next Friday, the same time. Next Friday, thank you. And if you have any questions throughout the week, put those in. Again, the group is open to your posts. Anything you think would inspire.
Oh yeah, we're gonna keep that going. It's
or
been going
any
well.
kind of support you're looking for, please just post a public post into the group. We welcome it. So yeah.
And you'll be sure to get feedback and response from us. So
yes, it's Friday. Thanks, Monica. I'm a little lost. Thanks for helping me out. All right, so thank you everyone who joined here. It's great to see you, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And remember to like the posts if you want to see them as they come out.
All right, take care. Have a great day.
Take care, everyone.